Guys, we are going to make some homemade tomato basil sauce for my homemade manigot. I have to do this in stages. So in that pot right over there, I have some olive oil. I have a tablespoon or two of olive oil and, no, 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of butter, slowly heating up. I'm going to put it on a low while I chop my onion and talk with you. Hang on, let me try to give you some view. Okay. I don't know, it's so hard. You're probably sick of me saying that. To make homemade manigot, there's a lot of components to it. Manicotti, I'll call it manicotti for you. You make your sauce, a nice fresh Italian sauce. If it was summer, I would use my fresh tomatoes, but it's not summer. It's dead winter. We're in the last days of January. So I bought good organic crushed tomatoes with basil. I also bought some fresh basil, and I'm using fresh onions, fresh garlic. I'm going to make it as fresh as possible. This sauce is not supposed to be thick like a tomato paste, thick based sauce. It's supposed to be a light sauce because the dinner itself is so rich with all the cheeses. I make 2 different kinds of manicotti. My mom taught me. My father never liked ricotta cheese. I shouldn't say never. He liked it in baked ziti or lasagna. No. Yes, he did. But he didn't like that. Where I'm going with this is she makes a meat version that's ricotta free, and she makes an all cheese version, or made. So this is going to be a struggle for me to make, kind of like the peanut butter balls were, because I have a lot of emotions with this. This was definitely a labor of love of my mom's, and gosh, I got this thing so messed up. And she taught me how to do it when she was dying of leukemia. There's no easy way to say it. So she would take the recipe. We were going to make a homemade pasta, and it's like a crepe, and then you stuff it, and they are creamy, delicious goodness. But they are a labor of love. I'm chopping up 3 cloves of garlic. So basically, tomato basil sauce is what I'm doing right now, just prepping. I want that to be simmering away when I'm chopping up my onions, garlic, and I'll show you. It's nothing. It's really nothing. So I'm going to move you closer to the pot. I mean, that's closest pot I can get. And I'm going to drop in these onions. You can hear the sizzle. I have it on low. Onions and garlic. There's not much to it. Let's see if I can get me in the pot now. I'm going to add some salt. And I like to hold the lid like this so I don't drop it all the way over. Some pepper. Add that up. A little crushed red pepper flakes. I think you can see. And I'm going to put just a tad of sugar. Maybe a half a teaspoon. And then I'm going to do my usual. Stir it around in the fat that's in there. Put the lid on. It's on low. And let that get a little translucent. So I'm making a homemade tomato basil sauce. So I used organic, this is Great Value brand, crushed tomatoes with basil. I've used them before, they're delicious. And then you want this sauce to be, like I said, a little thinner than a sauce that has, you can't see me, that has a thick, you don't want it to be a thick, holy moly, what's going on with my camera today? There we go. You don't want it to be a thick sauce because like you're going to put spaghetti meatballs together. It should be light. So the sauce gets made first, and then I will make the cheese filling. I will make the meat filling, and the last thing I make is the manicotti pasta. Then you have everything ready to go once they're done. And they come out like little crepes. I'll put them right on this cutting board right here. I flip them one at a time. You make one noodle at a time, put it down. It's like a round pancake. Put it down, put it down, put it down. When you have a dozen, because that's about what I'll make, maybe a few more. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot. Then you make your casseroles. So one will be all cheese, one will have meat. So I'm going to keep going with this, but for right now, we're starting the sauce. So the sauce really is, I'll show you in the pot. There's nothing to see but onions and garlic right now. I think you can see in the pot. Onions and garlic are simmering away. And I'm going to drop, what I'm going to do next is drop these cans of tomatoes in. Not yet though, I can see they're still, I like to have that cooked. In other words, I want those onions soft. So I'll be back. Give me a few minutes. Okay guys, now see if I can do this without burning myself. It is ready for me to drop. I'll show you. I don't know if you could see this. I do not know. So the onions are soft and translucent. So I'm going to drop the tomatoes in. This is a sauce that's, by the time I'm done making the rest of the components, it's done. It's a quick cooking sauce. And like I said, it's supposed to be a thinner sauce, a fresher, thinner sauce, not heavy, which it will be. And I'm going to add some water into these cans to get every last drop out, because right now it's too thick. So I have water in my tea kettle. I'm going to fill each can halfway. And it's hot water because I just made tea. So then I'll stir it around. Move this kettle out of the way, because this is going to go to the back burner where it's the smaller. So I'm stirring this around to get every last drop of tomatoes out of that. I don't like the waste, and I want to thin out this sauce. So that's a clean can now. This is how I roll. I use every drop. We don't need any more crushed red pepper. You don't need any seasonings. You already salt, peppered, and crushed red peppered, and a little sugar on your onions and garlic. And at the end, when I'm ready to put it all together, I chop in fresh basil, the last step, when the sauce is done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid on this. I'm going to move it to the back burner and put her on low. And then I'm going to, that's going to be this video. That's tomato basil fresh sauce. Let it simmer. You can let this simmer maybe 30 minutes. And it's good for eggplant parm. It's good for chicken parm. It's good for over pasta. Just let it simmer, and it's delicious. Add your fresh basil and do whatever you want with it. That is a tomato basil fresh crushed, as fresh as it can be in the middle of January with good organic crushed tomatoes. That's how I started. Onions, garlic, crushed red pepper, dash of sugar, salt and pepper. I don't put any Italian seasonings because that one came with basil in it. And I think sometimes Italian seasoning is overwhelming, especially, I don't know, it's just not my thing. I forgot to mention, Lori bought herself the present. Rada is back, so I'm going to try really hard not to throw this knife in the garbage. You knew I threw one in the garbage in the fall. I replaced it, and now I am back with my favorite knife. Thank you. I'll see you soon. I'll be back with the rest of this.